May the 4th. This is in return to the letter that you recently sent me, or I should say the tape that you recently sent me on April 24th. Hey, it's really neat to hear that you're doing pretty good on the house there. You're fixing up the yard and making everything look nice and neat. And you get all the front yard all fixed up, huh? And you got the tennis court going along pretty good. Sounds alright. It's gonna be neat when I come home and be able to see all that stuff all done and be able to use it and such. It's too bad you had to have the problem with the zoning commission and getting those things fixed together, but I hope everything works out right so you'll be able to get the pilasters up in the front and get your fence in the back and stuff. We sure do have a really neat house, huh? Looking forward to coming back and being able to use all the different recreational things that are available there. It's good to hear that you're doing so well in the aloe vera program over there. At first I was kind of always a little skeptical of the aloe vera products, but I tell you, I'm a believer in the facelift kit. I really think it works. I use it every once in a while out here. Plan on using it a lot right before I come home. And the other products, I don't know if I'm really quite sold on them. I'm pretty much sold on the suntan stuff. I think that's a pretty good product. I guess the other ones are just I haven't been able to use them that much. But I don't have any bad feelings against aloe vera or any of their products. I think they have some good ideas. I have a lot of interest in the body wrap deal. I'd like to see if that really works out very well. And then this new diet plan, I don't know how well it works or how easy it is to use or anything like that. Works pretty good, then it must be a pretty good product, huh? But I'm glad to hear that you're making a lot of money in it, and you're up in the high places there, and that you're being successful. I hope you'll be able to fulfill your goals and be able to get all the stuff worked out the way that you want it to be. Well, I don't know about finding people to tell about the aloe vera products over here. I really haven't thought too much about that. I'm kind of surprised that you want to come over here to Japan and spend a little while. That kind of shocked me that you want to come over here. I really don't know what you'll do once you're over here. You know, if you could get some people over to have an aloe vera meeting or not, I don't know. But I don't know what you'd do over here once you got over here. It's kind of, I guess I kind of overlook all the things that might be interesting to you. I see them every day, and they're just regular things now. But and there'd be kind of a little bit of a problem, and you know, doing an aloe vera meeting over here, being that you know, Japanese is kind of hard language to learn real quick. And it would be it would be hard for me to translate something like that in a situation like that. I guess I don't know how to say a lot of aloe vera words and how to do this and that, but I don't know if I'm too excited right now to start an aloe vera program up in Japan. It seems to me like it'd be a heck of a lot easier to do it in America. As you know, my interests have never really lied in the selling of a product like that. For you, you seem like you're having a lot of fun and a good time doing it, but I'm been kind of thinking on another plane on things I'd like to do in my life. I don't know, when I come back, I was always planning on going down back to DeVry and go to school there. I think that it's a really good school there, and if I get my degree from there, I think it'll be fairly well respected throughout the industry. Plus, they teach some of the things that I'd like to learn there that I don't think that very many other schools in high technology schools and the equipment available and being able to work things like that really have to offer. But I really don't know about that. I'd have to look into it a lot more. Chris says he's going to go down to Tucson or whatever and go to school there. So leaving the house up in Provo empty, I don't know if I'd go up to Provo and live in that house. I don't know if I really would want to go to a school like Douglas is going, being that I don't want to become an electronic technician, since that's what I essentially am already anyway. I really would rather get some type of a degree of some sort. But you kind of know at my end, but kind of being able to get out on my own, even though it'd be a little bit harder, but to be able to do something like that. I've been thinking of always, of having the home consumer electronics deal. I don't know how, that's kind of a long shot, far away idea, but I've also been thinking of starting up a little company, maybe while I'm going to school, and see how it works, and that would be making electronic kits, like Heath kit, but more on an experimenter's level, being that more people are getting more interested in electronics all the time, but would like a kit that you wouldn't have to buy all the little things that a company like Heathkit offers, so the price could be much more inexpensive, but getting essentially the same type of a kit, and being able to buy these things in all different segments and whatnot. And then getting kits from other different companies and put them all together in a type of maybe a store deal or through a mail order type of a deal, and sell them through that way. But I think I'd kind of get a kick out of design electronic devices and whatnot. Talking about electronics, I'm sorry your system over there in the office isn't working too well right now. I'm sure it's just a minor problem, and I always kind of wonder to myself why it works while I'm there, and while I'm not there it doesn't work so well. But I guess that's one of the things I have to learn, is how to work out all the bugs so it works well and automatically while I'm not there. That project, that whole thing has been quite a learning experience for me, more than a college education. That's for sure, and I thank you very much for the opportunity that I've had to work on that. So I don't know about living up in Provo or going up to school there in that area. I'd have to look around and see what's going on up there, but my plans of right now are still to go down back to Phoenix and go to DeVry. I was thinking going down there that I really didn't want to live in an apartment, and so I was thinking of buying a trailer house and put it on in a trailer park down there and live down there. I was thinking that the more privacy and not having to play around with landlords and not being able, of course you'd have to pay rent on the ground that you're on, and then also make payments on the trailer house. And when you rent, of course you just give your money and then it's gone, and this way I'd be putting a little bit of money into a trailer house, and once I decided to move I would get a little bit of return back on the money. And I was thinking that the trailer house we could get more room for the same amount of money. I know I haven't really looked too much into trailer houses. I just kind of thought of it while I was out here. But you being a owner of a trailer house once before in your life, and tell me how it is, and tell me what the advantages and the disadvantages are. I really respect your opinion, and I'd like to know. Yeah. I look back and I see that you and Mom, when you were first married, that you lived in a trailer house, and when we were building the house we lived in a trailer house, and it doesn't seem like it'd be all that bad for two people. And so that's what I was thinking. I hear that you can get a fairly decent trailer house for around $10,000 to $15,000 and be able to, and then they kind of sell them like cars, I guess, and you can kind of get the same type of a payment plan, so you probably get the payments down pretty low, and so it'd be just like renting, but of course, a lot would go into interest, but some would go down onto the trailer house. Maybe we can. And of course the trailer house depreciates after a while, but I'm sure that by the time we sell it we could be able to get a little bit of return off on it. And so that's my thoughts on what I'm going to do after I get off my mission. And I've been thinking a lot about you don't know what I'm homesick for. Sure, I miss Melanie, I love her a lot, but if you really want to know what I'm homesick for, I'm the most thing that I'm homesick for right now is America. I never did realize how great a country America is and all the nice things that we have there. And being able to speak your own language and being able to relate to the people here. The Japanese people, their thinking is quite different than the people in America. Sometimes it baffles me on the way I think and the way they think, and we can have a perfectly long, good conversation thinking that I understand and they thinking that they understand, but we don't understand because our thinking is off to it. For example, when we go around and we talk to people and we ask them if they believe in God, and they always say, most of the time they say that they believe in God, but the definition of my God and the definition of their God are two different gods. They're kind of set that their God is kind of like nature and the mountains and peace and beautiful things. It's even still kind of hard for me to comprehend. And the picture of our God, is a man with flesh and bones and one person, and their thinking is that we believe in of course Japanese is God, and we don't want to believe in America's God, and they think that we're representing America's God, and we try to explain to them that the God we're talking about is everybody's God, and it's this message is for everybody, and that's kind of hard to get around, but we've found our ways, we've developed our techniques in such a way. We find that most of the people we teach the hardest part isn't teaching the lessons. Usually when we teach the lessons, they all can understand it, it makes sense, and it all fits into place. And a lot of the times, they'll be converted and they'll want to join the church. But the hardest part is getting in and being able to have that first opportunity chance just to teach the Christ lesson and teach about the gospel. The way the lesson plan is set up right now is it's really simple and really well planned out, and it leaves a lot for the missionaries just to be able to say what they think, and they're guided by the Spirit at the time that they're teaching the lesson. The lesson plan itself is received very well by the Japanese people. It's just the hard part is being able to get that first appointment with them to be able to talk about the gospel. The Japanese people admire Americans very much, and they all want to be friends with Americans. So that kind of gives us an edge there. But once we come in and introduce ourselves as Jesus Christ Church's representative, then we tend to lose that edge, and and so it's kind of hard to get in on that approach. But we've developed techniques in such a way lately that we've increased our successfulness maybe 200 to 300% by introducing ourselves as friends and just wanting to talk to them for a while. We go in and talk to them for a while and just become their friends, and then we introduce ourselves as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And now that as we're established as friends, it's much more easier and more relaxed to talk about the gospel. The Japanese people are really resentful to strange ideas and foreign thoughts that might upset their way of life right now. They don't really want to have the change. So, and of course the Church of Jesus Christ would bring on a great change in their life. And they might know that it's true, but they realize that there'd be a big change in their life, and they don't want to change their life. They are happy now, but they just can't realize that how this change would make them so much more happier. We try to tell them how they can strengthen their family. The family is a really important thing in Japan, and it is deteriorating in Japan, much like it did in America. Japan is kind of like America's baby. They follow America roughly about 5 years behind or so, and they're starting to feel the effects and starting to have the recession that America was falling into 5 years ago or so. And they get a lot of their thinking in America through the media and whatnot, and they try to try to be just like America. The kids they do the things that are seen in the magazines that come from America, and sadly enough, most of the time that the things that come from America and magazines and whatnot are not the good things from the Lord, and that are the bad things, like the drugs and the smoking and things like that. People have a hard time comprehending that we're Americans and don't drink coffee and Coca-Cola and smoke. They kind of think that all Americans drink and smoke and whatnot, and also they like us in America, we always thought of the Bukkyo religion, the Buddhist religion, as that's only being one religion, but the Buddhist religion is very similar to the Christian religion, is that there are a lot of different sects in the Buddhist religion. Just like in America, there's roughly 800 different or so sects in different Christianity religions. And so a lot of them are surprised to find out that there's more than one Jesus Christ Church. But we reassure them that there is only one, that this is the right one, and that all the other ones are wrong. Getting back to Japan, we seem to be seeing a bit more success right now. It seems like one of the other hardest things to get over is my own weaknesses, and trying to, if I can get them out of the way, then I can seem to be able to get to the people much more. We have a family that we've been working on for quite a while now. It looks like they're going to be baptized. I sure hope they are. The man smoked maybe 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and he's stopped that now, and he's stopped drinking, and he's really looking forward to be baptized. His wife has been sold on it for quite a while, and I hope that that'll be a big strength to the little group that we have right here. In the city that we have right now, there's a group of maybe 10 people, and they're all good people, and they're a great strength to the church. In Japan, it's customary that what it is here is they have a thing called saving face, where it's all right to lie if you can avoid hurting somebody's feelings. And that's a hard one for us to get around to understand what they're actually thinking. It seems like they're putting up a wall in front of us, and you kind of have to read their mind to understand really what they're trying to tell you. For example, they will knock on the door and we'll ask them if we can talk for a minute, and they'll just say that they're in a hurry right now. And sometimes they really are in a hurry, but a lot of times they're just, instead of saying that I don't have any interest in the gospel, that they'll say, so not to hurt our feelings, they'll just say that they're in a hurry, or they'll say that they just don't understand, or even though actually they just want us to teach them the gospel, but they don't realize it yet. Well, I've learned a great deal on my mission. I'm very glad for the experiences that I've been able to have out here. I've learned a lot about myself, and my values of different things have changed quite a bit. I've become much more family oriented. Thoughts of my family. I love my family very much, and I feel that I'm very fortunate and lucky, and always thankful for the many blessings that I have. Yeah. I'm thankful for the two good parents that I have. I couldn't ask for anything any better. And for the love and concern that they show for me. I've always been thinking of a lot of material things throughout my life, and I feel that my values have changed quite a bit, and I'm thinking more on a spiritual basis, and things of material value don't really worry me that much anymore, even though I think about them often, but I would do just as well without them all. We're talking with Melanie. As right now, as you probably think, we plan on getting married, but I don't know if we'll get married very soon after I get off my mission. It may be 4 to 6 months or so after I get off my mission is maybe when we plan to get married. But it won't be like 2 months after, or 4 weeks after. It'll be a little while after. But I would like to maybe go down to school for the July term, and I would like to take my wife down with me. And so that's my thoughts on that. Let me tell you a few things that we've been doing around here. We've been pretty busy lately. Haven't been doing much missionary work in the past few days. But what we have really though. We went to church the other day and we were pleasantly surprised to see our investigator family there. And they're coming along pretty well. And that night we went out and to another investigator's house, and he fed us some of the best raw fish that I've had in a long time. And we had a good talk. He's one that talks freely about Japanese culture and the way that Japanese people think. And I learned a great deal from him. I really enjoy going over to his house and talking with him. And in the conversation, as we become good friends, he kind of invited himself to church, and we weren't going to argue with him whether he could come or not. And so it looks like he's going to be coming to church this next week. And he said he'd bring his whole family, which is his wife and 2 kids. So we look forward to teaching him more about the gospel. The next morning we had a conference in a town called Machida, which is about 2.5 hours by train. We got up early that morning, and got on the train at 6:30 and rode up there. And it was a special conference, being that there are 14 missionaries leaving the mission this month. And they had to all bear their testimonies and say their goodbyes. And then afterwards it was a sports conference, and we got to play volleyball and basketball and football and baseball. And it was a pretty fun deal. All the zones competed against each other. Out of the 7 zones, we took 3rd place, which is just alright, I guess. But then we rode back, and the trains were fairly full, and we had to stand up all the way back. But that was 5 hours on the train that day, and we were pretty tired that night, and we went right to bed. Then the next morning, which was yesterday, we had to get up early and go on this ward hiking up to him. It was a mountain by Mount Fuji. It was one of the taller ones around it. Can't climb up to the top of Mount Fuji yet because there's still a lot of snow there and they won't let anybody up there. But this mountain was fairly low, and we climbed up to the top of that as a little ward there. It was a pretty fun day. I'm really sore right now. But and today we got to get our things of the week done today. It's not our preparation day today, but we didn't have one for a couple of weeks now. Matter of fact, for 3 weeks now we haven't had a real preparation day, so we're just going to take the morning off and get some things that we haven't been able to have a chance to get done and get them done today. Talking about coming to Japan, it's rather expensive to come here, and things here are pretty expensive. They're more expensive than they are in America. Everything is, except for, of course, the electronic things. And there's special shops to go shopping at where you can get discounts and tax-free, and being Americans and such. I went and looked at the Olympus set up there with the Olympus camera. and the video recorders and stuff. The Nikon recorder and the Olympus and the Canon and the National, which is Panasonic, are all the same recorder, and they're all selling for roughly the same price, and they all have the same camera except for Nikon. So I'm sure you want the Olympus brand one that says Olympus on it, even though the only difference is that the sticker on it says Olympus and the other one says Canon and the other one says Nikon. But the markdown on those right now aren't very well because it's a new product. They'll only give about 15 to 20% off at these discount places. And then when you take something through customs back to America that's over $300, there's a 10% customs fee or import tax or whatever you want to call it. So there wouldn't be really too much of a savings at all right now. But talking to the man there, that the price will go down within the next 4 months or so, and they'll be able to give 30 or 40% off the camera at the retail price. And there's another problem here, that Japan is everything in Japan runs on 100 volts AC, and in America everything runs on 117. So there would be that problem there if you bought one from a store in Japan, just a regular store. And then the TV channels are set up a little bit different here. The frequency bandwidth is lower on their televisions than they are in America. The channel 1, 2, and 3 in Japan are at the same frequency that on our FM band in America, from 102 to 108 on the FM band. And so, but channel 4 in Japan is channel 2 in America and such. But there are special places here in Japan where you can buy the American export goods for the same price, and so you can buy the places the 120 volt recorder with the right TV channels on it, on the tuner. But it's a little difficult. It's in a place called Akihabara, and it is the cities where these stores are at is right in between the South Mission boundaries and the North Mission boundaries. And the way they've got it set up is that it's in no man's land is what it is, and nobody has really the authorization to go into the cities like many of the big cities in Tokyo, because of just because it's a big city, and they don't like missionaries playing around in there. And so with special permission and whatnot, of course you can go to these places, but I don't know how much money would be able to be saved off of buying something like that here in Japan. I have been looking at many different things there, and there are other things that are very reasonable and easy to get a hold of. Oh yeah, and the video cassette recorder too. If you buy it in Japan, the camera and the recorder itself are just the same as the one in America. The thing that's different is the tuner. But there's another difference too, that the ones in Japan, everything is written in kanji and all the controls are written in Japanese. I don't know if you'd like that or not. There is another special store where everything is done in dollars, but I don't think they have an Olympus one there. I think they have a Canon one there. But I was looking. I told you I bought that little Pentax camera, but you're thinking of a different camera than the one I bought. The one I bought isn't the 110 one, the 110 with the SLR 110 that they have. It's Pentax. I don't even know if they have them in America yet. It's really new here in Japan. It came out in December, and it's a 35mm camera, and it's got the little slide cover over the front of it, just like Olympus's. It's a little bit bigger than Olympus's, but it has a built-in flash, and when you put the flash on the Olympus camera, it comes out to be about the same size. It has a lot of nice little features on it that I like. It has a autofocus feature that the Olympus doesn't have, and it is a 35mm camera, and the button is bigger and it's not so sensitive to push. I kind of like that more, and it's a nice looking camera. It also, with the autofocus feature, you don't have to play with the focus on the bottom and the match deal. It's got the lenses all up on the front and everything, and all you do is push the button and it focuses all together. It's a real simple camera to use. All you do is, and then it has another neat little feature. Though it has a little winder attachment that comes with it that I bought, and it hooks on the side of the camera. It doesn't hook on the bottom of the camera. Usually to advance the film, there's a little gear that you turn, like on the Olympus camera up at the top. This adapter fits on the side, and it turns that little gear for you when it's not a super fast auto winder, but it just kind of winds the film so you don't have to do it. I really enjoy the camera, like the slides that I recently sent you. A lot of them were taken with this little Pentax camera. I'll tell you what another real deal is I sold my OM10 to a missionary here. I sold it for $225, and what I sold was the body and the lens, that 35 to 70 lens, and the little adapter on it. So I still have my winder, and I still have my case and my flash. So I don't know how good of a deal I got on it or whatnot, but I don't know if I did too bad. But what I'm planning on buying is a Olympus OM30, which in America is Olympus OMF, and they've just come out in black here, and I'm going to buy a black one. The cameras, Minolta has their autofocus camera, it's automatic, and Canon has their autofocus camera that's automatic, and Pentax has their autofocus camera that's automatic, and Olympus has their autofocus camera that's automatic. And in a recent contest in Europe, the Olympus won for overall usability, as the best camera out of the autofocus series. I really enjoy that autofocus attachment with the little LEDs on the bottom that tell you which way to do things. But the Olympus has another feature. I like the design of the new body style of the OMG and the OMF. It just looks like a really neat camera. They've taken a lot of metal out of the camera, and it's quite light camera. It feels a little cheap, but they keep assuring me of its quality and reliability is still there. And so I still have the winder, and I'll be able to buy the camera, and the camera and stick on it. But they have this extra attachment that only the Olympus camera has, and what it is the camera will only, it plugs on the side and goes into the winder, plugs into the winder, and you can only take pictures then when the camera is in focus, which none of the other brands can do. And I really like that feature. It makes it so you can take pictures really fast, and I think I'll enjoy this camera a lot. Yeah, I'll be able to get it for the body for less than I sold my other camera, which will end up leaving me with a little bit of money left over, plus I need to get a lens. They have a sale on Tamron lenses. Have you ever heard of Tamron lenses? They have a 35 to 70 lens with a really nice macro on it. Probably the nicest macro out of all the Tamron lenses. Or zoom lenses.